and gentlemen, and welcome to Busey Bank Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium for tonight's Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference matchup between the visiting Bees of St. Ambrose University and your St. Francis Fighting Saints. At this time, we ask that you please rise and kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. At this time, let's introduce tonight's starting lineups first for the visiting Fighting Bees. First up, number 2, Mataus Magaeus. Number 3, Dylan Olenek. Number 4, Kieran Rack. Number 7, Joe Campbell. Number 10, Ricardo Ronsoni. Number 12, Jake Pollock. Number 15, Police Filipina. Number 20, Luis Vermeer. Number 21, Josh Simon. Number 23, Gus Stevens. And in goal for the Fighting Bees, wearing the number 0, Dawson Yagi. The Fighting Bees are coached by Chad Holmer. And now the starting lineup for your Fighting Saints. First up, number 4, Peter Langenhusen. Number 8, Max Gaudry. Number 16, Sergio Fernandez Arango. Number 17, Jonathan Mendez. Number 18, Jack Brown. Number 22, Benicio Gamino. Number 27, Antoine Esparza. Number 30, Mason Moraz. Number 32, William Morrow. Number 38, Austin Delasay. And in goal for the Fighting Saints, wearing 93, Elio DiGennaro. Your Fighting Saints are coached by Nigel Dillard.
Good evening from Joliet, Illinois, and Joliet Memorial Stadium, the home of the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints, as we open the CCAC soccer season with the Saints taking on the Fighting Bees of St. Ambrose. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Terry Bonadonna. I'm on the play-by-play for today's matchup as the Fighting Saints try to pick up their first victory of the year. 0-4-1 so far this season. They've lost their last 4 games consecutively, but all of that was out of conference. Today is when the real season begins, the start of CCAC play, and the Saints will try to start it off on the right foot. They take on a red-hot St. Ambrose team. They come in winners of 7 of their first 8 matchups this year. They're 7-1 overall, and they've scored already 22 goals this season in just 8 games played. So it's going to be a tall task for St. Francis, who gets us underway moving from right to left. The Fighting Saints are in gold tonight and shooting into the north goal for the first half of the game. St. Ambrose is in navy blue, going from left to right to get us started. They're shooting into the south goal. Very aggressive right off the bat from their freshman, Luis Ferbery, forcing the St. Francis defense to act quickly, which in turn forces the offense to not be able to really get in position. Quick giveaway to St. Ambrose, starting back from the goalkeeper position. Let's look at the starting lineups for today's game. The visitors from St. Ambrose line up with Mateus Mageas as St. Francis makes a move here. Antoine Esparza fires it in front of the net. Header from Morel, and it's deflected away by Jorn Reck. Out of bounds for a corner kick. Good early opportunity for St. Francis, putting a lot of pressure on the Fighting Bees just 1 minute into the game. The ball is positioned down in the corner by Esparza. Saints weren't able to create a lot of opportunities in their last game, so getting an early one here is a big deal. Sent right in front of the net, pushed away by Dawson Yegi and out of bounds. That's going to be a goal kick. St. Ambrose is able to come up with the stop. Let's look at the rest of the lineup for the Fighting Bees and their 6th-year head coach, Chad Holmer. You've met a few of them already. This is actually another corner kick rather than the goal kick. It was last touched by Dawson Yegi, so I'll go over the starters in a moment. Let's first see if St. Francis is able to take advantage of this opportunity. There is an injured man down wearing gold right in front of the net. That's William Morel for the Fighting Saints. Morel was able to get up to his feet, so that's good to see. He's being looked at by the training staff right now as the clock stops 91 seconds into the match. 43-29 remain in the first half. St. Francis has opened up the first couple of scoring chances in today's game against one of the highest scoring teams in the CCAC. St. Ambrose comes in with a plus 11 goal differential. Really impressive number through just 8 games this year. Morel trots off the field. So the bad news is he has to leave the field, but the good news is it was at a trot. Seems to be okay. He's going to check back in. And the Saints are going to get their second corner kick in the last minute. Esparza's ready to go. Saints play a man down for the moment. Headed right in front of the net, and now it is cleared by St. Ambrose as Morel does re-enter the field. He plays this one back to the goalkeeper. The rest of the starters for St. Ambrose, along with Mageas, Jorn Reck, Joe Campbell, Ricardo Ronconi, Jake Pollock, Polis Pelopita, Emilio Sue Gomez, Luis Ferbery, Josh Simon, and Gus Stevens. Those are their starting 10 in front of the goalkeeper, Dawson Yegi. Give you the numbers on him in just a moment. St. Ambrose tries to make their first push of the game offensively. Worked back defensively by Pelopita. Swung around from the left to the right. Pushed downfield by Jorn Reck. Nice move to free himself of a defender. Pass to the outside. Mageas sent into the box, deflected, and cleared by St. Francis, but only for a moment. Pelopita gets it right back. Through ball into the box, deflected out of bounds. We've got a corner kick coming up for St. Ambrose. Here we are, not yet 3 minutes into the game, and we're already seeing our third corner kick, so a lot of these early on today. First one for St. Ambrose. It'll be taken by the sophomore from Brazil, Mateus Mageas. Mageas taking a long pause and now a whistle. The official was, I think he was tying his shoe off the field for the moment. So the clock stops at 41-47. That may not be his shoe after all. I'm not sure. But the official was off the field for a minute. So he stopped play. Now we're all ready to go. I'm ready. I've been ready. Just waiting on the referee down there. All parties appear to be in position. The ref having a few more words with the players from both teams right in front of the net. And finally, we're going to play some soccer. Mageas sends the corner kick into the front post. It's punched away to the top of the box and cleared by the Fighting Saints. St. Francis trying to make a counterattack, unable to do so. Forced back the other way by St. Ambrose. One bouncer on the kick right into the hands of Elio De Janeiro, the goalkeeper for St. Francis. Here's the lineup in front of him. It's Peter Langenhusen, Max Gaudry, Sergio Fernandez Arango, Jonathan Mendez, Jack Brown, Benicio Gamino, Antoine Esparza, Mason Moroz, William Morel, and Austin Delaze. Elio De Janeiro, who we just met, making a save, is the starter in goal today. It's his fifth start of the season, or fifth game played this season. He and Merlin Vanderveen have split time. De Janeiro's numbers a little bit better. 2 goals allowed per game, 17 saves, and a .739 save percentage. Deep run for St. Ambrose, pushed out of bounds by Peter Langenhusen. And we're going to get another corner kick here, just 1 minute after the last one. Each team has already had multiple corner kicks. So again, the ball is set up by Mageas down on the far side. He makes the approach, sends the kick in. Again to the front post. It gets past the goalkeeper, but headed up in the air. Knocked away by Gamino. Trying to clear it further downfield. Kept alive for a moment by Polis Pelopita. But the Saints are able to get it out of harm's way. Well played by Gamino. In a tough situation after that corner kick did get past the outstretched hands of Elio De Janeiro. We remain scoreless. I mentioned St. Ambrose has a +11 goal differential this year, 22-11, so they're exactly doubling up their opposition. Saints are in the other direction. They've scored just 3 times in 5 games. They've been outscored overall 12-3. Offsides called against the Fighting Saints. So St. Ambrose will get a free kick from just shy of midfield. 5.5 minutes into the action. A few early opportunities for the Saints just in the first 2 minutes or so. Things have evened out since then. St. Ambrose has been the team on the attack as that's headed up towards the goalkeeper. Another offsides call, though. This one against the Bees. So that shot doesn't go for anything. Goalkeeper for St. Ambrose today is Dawson Yegi. Yegi has played all 9 games for St. Ambrose this year. He's allowed 12 goals total, an average of 1.42 per game. He's made 34 saves, which is a .756 percentage. He's only got 1 shutout, so St. Ambrose does give up their share of goals. They've just been able to counteract that by scoring a ton of them. Just about 3 per game. Max Gaudry pushes it downfield. Saints stay on sides this time. Good run for Esparza to the edge of the box. Turns, takes a shot with the left foot, and sails it high and out of bounds. Good chance there for Esparza. Nice creation by the Fighting Saints all around. It was a good ball from Gaudry to set it up. But the possession ends up going nowhere. Saints remain scoreless as the game remains scoreless 7 minutes in. Fight for the ball, won by St. Ambrose. Jake Pollock can't control it. Now the Saints push it forward. A shot from Mason Moroz rolls weakly into the hands of Dawson Yegi. Moroz was in good position but couldn't get any force on that shot. As the ball goes all the way to the other side of the field, De Janeiro lets it roll back into the box, although he neglects to pick it up. Decides to play it with his foot instead. The Saints try to make their push, but it's intercepted quickly by St. Ambrose. Tackled right back away by the Fighting Saints. Ball knocked off the foot of Gaudry and out of bounds. The throw-in belongs to the Saints. No score. Just over 37 minutes to play in the first half. Along the far sideline, Saints keep it in bounds. Ball knocked loose. A whistle blows. I think we got a foul here on the Bees down near the corner. So an interesting position for a free kick for the Fighting Saints. Ball is set up along the far sideline. Only about 15 yards back. So a tough angle to score from. We'll see from this distance if Esparza is going to try. Kick goes up top to Gaudry. He takes the shot and misses it wide to the left, but I think a whistle before the shot. Maybe not. So it is a good shot, but it is out of bounds. A miss from Gaudry. Still a shot for St. Francis. They've been aggressive early on, and that's what you like to see if you're rooting for the Fighting Saints today against one of the toughest offenses they'll see the rest of the season. It's going to be hard to come away with a shutout against them, so you figure you're going to have to score a few at some point. Saints have kept their foot on the gas pedal for the first 10 minutes today. Knocked out of bounds, throw-in coming up for St. Francis. Austin Delaze lobs it in, deflected right back to him. Passed over to Jack Brown. Saints stay on sides. This is Gamino. Gamino takes a shot, and that's wide to the left and out of bounds. Couple of shots over the last minute or two have been just wide to the left. Dawson Yegi's been able to breathe a sigh of relief. Hasn't had to make any saves on those. Deep ball on the goal kick. Headed back the other way from midfield. Nice move by Reck to clear the offensive player. He boots it away. Now a scrum for the ball on the defensive end for St. Francis, and the Fighting Saints defenders win possession. Ahead for Mendez. Jonathan Mendez passes to Esparza, trying to get it back. It's deflected away. There's Max Gaudry getting involved, but he can't keep it in bounds. Throw in for the Fighting Bees. We've played just over 10 minutes with just under 80 minutes still to play. Nothing. The Bees get the throw in. Deep down the middle of the field, long run back for it. Jack Brown trying to reach it first. He does. I think initially maybe he wanted to tap it back to DeGeneres, but the pressure from the Bees got so intense he just had to kick it over his head towards the sideline. He ends up sending it out of bounds, so the Saints aren't able to reverse possession, but they are able at least to get themselves back in position. Set up on defense. Jake Pollock to throw it in for St. Ambrose. Pollock steps into the box. Knocked loose by the defense, cleared by Gamino. Nice play by St. Francis's defense to clear things up. Now on the other side, it's Dawson Yegi. Resetting possession for the Bees. Intercepted in the midfield. Far side of the field. Long kick towards Esparza. He's able to get his head on the ball, trying to knock it loose of Mageas. Didn't work. Mageas was able to take it away. Saints get it back, rolled into the box, and a little bit too strong. Out in front of the intended target, Jonathan Mendez. Mendez was looking to tap that past Dawson Yegi, but Yegi was able to fly in and scoop it up before the shot could be delivered. Yegi was taking his time. Finally, after a little pressure, he got rid of the ball. Rolled off to the far side. Good challenge by Gaudry. He comes away with the interception for the Fighting Saints, and it's knocked out of bounds by St. Ambrose. The Saints continue to attack. Thrown in down the sideline, knocked away by Pelopita, and cleared by St. Ambrose. Long run from Ambrose. It's Gamino who picks it up. Gamino kicks it into no man's land, easily intercepted. Sliding stop from Gaudry. Here come the Saints again. Right down the middle of the field, tapped ahead. There's a shot and a stop by Yegi as he comes sliding in to take it off the foot of, I think that was Mendez. Whoever it was robbed by Dawson Yegi, 6 foot 8 inch tall junior goalkeeper from McHenry, Illinois. We got a guy who's 6 foot 8 like that. He's going to be tough to beat up top. Saints want to make him bend over in order to make any saves. He was able to make a sliding stop there. Free kick bounces into the goalkeeper's box and is picked up on the first hop by Elio De Janeiro. Here come the Saints down the sideline. A whistle blows. There's a man down for St. Francis. Sergio Fernandez Arango quickly back to his feet. And the Fighting Saints are quickly back in action. Sent directly out of bounds. Throw in for the Bees. Scratch that. Foul called on St. Ambrose prior to the ball being knocked out. So it's a free kick for St. Francis, and quickly back to Dawson Yegi, who has an easy punt. Fight for the ball, won for the moment by the Saints, but out of bounds. Josh Simon fought for it, fighting with Austin Delazay. And now a throw in for the Bees. Jake Pollock will take a good running start. And a whistle prior to the throw. Maybe during the throw. Some kind of a positioning issue. They're going to do it again. After the man who committed the infraction gets a little scolding. That's Joe Campbell who's being talked to by today's referee. And now we're ready to do it for real. Down into the corner. Shake free of two defenders. There's a pass and a clearance by St. Francis. Good work initially from Josh Simon. Not able to get one of his teammates to finish it off, though. Saints' counterattack is stifled. 29 minutes to play in the first half. And out of bounds. We'll go the other way with it. The Saints are 0-4-1. Trying to break a 4-match losing streak. Pick up their first win of the season. Deep ball into the box. One bounce. Picked up by Yegi. This is the finale for St. Francis of a 4-game homestand. Haven't been on the road since way back on August 27th. It'll change this weekend. Taken away down the sideline by the Saints and immediately stolen right back and out of bounds. St. Ambrose trying to mount an attack. Rolled off to the far sideline, down into the corner. Good slide tackle to take it away. Sergio Fernandez Arango. Moreau's trying to set up the Saints offense. He clicks it off his heel out of bounds. knocked out again. We've got a throw in here for St. Ambrose. Making their way bit by bit down the field. This will be a deep throw. Tossed in front of the net. Headed away by Langenhusen. Cleared towards the sideline by St. Francis. They couldn't keep it in bounds. Another throw in coming up for the Bees. Tossed into the corner and taken away by the Saints. More good defense from USF. Deflected out of bounds this time by the team in blue. Saints get to throw it in. Tossed into Esparza right down the sideline. Knocked loose and stolen by the Bees. St. Ambrose hasn't been able to sustain long possessions so far today. See if that changes here. They haven't had too many good scoring chances either. And it doesn't change here as the Saints take it away. Down the middle of the field, easily won by the defense of St. Ambrose, and back to Dawson Yegi, the goalkeeper. We've played 19 minutes of this game. No score yet. Not too many serious chances. Saints took a couple of shots that went out of bounds that were probably the closest to coming in. Not a whole lot so far for St. Ambrose. It's a team that came in with a 7-1 record. Back-to-back wins. Averaging close to 3 goals per game. They have not looked so far today like that dominant team, although the good news for them is that despite not looking like their usual selves, they're still tied right now, haven't given anything up. This is a team that will give up goals. Only one shutout so far this season. The foul is called. Clock stops at 25-13, and a yellow card is given to St. Ambrose. I didn't see who got that one. But it's on the Fighting Bees. It'll mean a free kick for the Saints. Just across midfield. All set for the free kick. Taken by Fernandez Arango. Pushes it down the middle of the field where it's immediately headed back. St. Ambrose does appear to have claimed possession, but immediately taken away by Langenhusen. Here's Delazé. Delazé's ball is deflected. One back by Jack Brown. And before Brown can turn upfield, a whistle blows against St. Ambrose. Back down the middle, headed by Reck. Jorn Reck is able to come up with the stop. But can the Bees turn it into a counterattack? We haven't seen that a lot so far today. Now more than 20 minutes into the game. They just haven't looked all that proficient offensively. Not a whole lot of Ferberry so far today. Tried to get involved that time, but couldn't catch up to the ball as he chased it right in front of the goalkeeper, De Janeiro. Ferberry is the reigning CCAC Player of the Week. Had a goal and 2 assists in their one win last week. St. Francis didn't have a game last week. They're playing today for the first time since the 13th of September, a 2-0 loss against Cornerstone. Push down the middle of the field. Chance here for St. Ambrose. Ricardo Ronconi chips it into the box. It's picked up on a bounce by De Janeiro. Not a great showing from the Saints the last time they were here. They played an even first half. Weren't able to score, though. They trailed 1-0 at the break, and then in the second half, things slipped away from them. They were outshot 11-2. Ended up falling in the game 2-0. Substitutions for St. Francis. Juan Jimenez and Roger Valles check in. Just about the halfway point of the first half. That's the quarter point, I guess, of the game. Morel tried to control it. Went a little bit high with his foot in trying to do so. Free kick here for St. Ambrose. Verbery backs off. Instead, stepping up from the defense to take the free kick is Jorn Reck. Reck's ready to go. Stays in the air a long time, pushed away by De Janeiro. Still in the danger zone for St. Francis down into the corner. It stays in bounds, and it's taken away by the defense. Good defensive play. Saints are on the move now. Gamino pushes it down the sideline. Keeps pushing. Knocked out of bounds. Jorn Reck got in front of that one and knocked it away. Delaze from Brown. Good defense again by Jorn Reck. He's had a good game. St. Ambrose really slowing things down now. A little two-man game with the goalkeeper. Finally to the reverse side of the field. Sent ahead, nobody there wearing blue, so the Saints have an easy time pushing it back to the goalkeeper, De Janeiro, and reclaiming possession. Still no score. Approaching the 20-minute mark remaining in the first half. Along the sideline, ball knocked away from Verbery by Austin Delaze. Delaze can't keep it in bounds, though. So St. Ambrose, just after losing the ball, gets it right back on a throw-in. And that's a handball. An inadvertent one, but a handball just the same on St. Ambrose. So the Fighting Saints get a free kick. Tie game. Big kick across midfield. Reck's the first one to touch it. Kept alive by the Saints and a foul called on St. Ambrose. Free kick for St. Francis will come just shy of 40 yards out. And again, they'll have the first chance to take the lead. Jorn Reck has a few words with the referee. He's ready to go back to his position as Max Gaudry prepares to take the free kick. Gaudry right in front of the net. On a short hop, it's deflected and a whistle. It'll be sent away by St. Ambrose. Looked good for a moment there for St. Francis, but St. Ambrose is able to come up with another stop. They've had so many of them throughout this first half. Saints have pushed. They've been stopped pretty quickly. Out of bounds, Gamino looking for an opening. Saints have outshot the Bees so far, 5-1. It really has felt much more like the Saints game. but they haven't been able to take the lead. That's always dangerous in a game like this. You're going to outplay the opponent. You better make them feel it. Right now, it's anyone's game. Valles passes off to Gamino, looking to get it back, but he was taken down. Clock stops again. 18:30 to play first half. Free kick for St. Francis. It's not terribly characteristic of these two teams as usual for the Saints to be outshooting the Bees by as many as they are. Total shots this season coming in. Saints were almost getting doubled up. St. Ambrose was not nearly there. They were slightly above their season competition. There's the free kick and another whistle. Looked like the Saints were offside. Kind of a disjointed series of actions here. A lot of clock stoppages in this first half. I guess that's fine with St. Ambrose, considering there really hasn't been much of a rhythm to their game, at least not on the offensive side. So all these stoppages might as well slow down St. Francis too. Or maybe that's how it all started for the Fighting Bees. Maybe that's why they've looked disjointed on offense. Maybe not. Just throwing it out there as a suggestion. Looked disjointed on defense there. A little miscommunication between the goalkeeper and his intended target. Ball ends up out of bounds. Saints get another throw. This time it is the Saints who are called for a foul. Free kick for the Bees. No score. Just over 17 minutes to play in the first half. Free kick is away. It's deep down the sideline. Nobody really there in blue. Josh Simon tried to chase it down, but he wouldn't have any help even if he had made the play, so he probably would have lost it shortly afterwards. It is alive for the Bees right now. This is Dylan Olendick. Taking up some clock. It's intercepted by Valles. It's ahead for Mason Moroz. Moroz spits a ball down the right side. Max Gaudry trying to turn it back to the middle of the field. A couple of nifty moves for Gaudry, but his pass is knocked away. Dylan Olendyke got there and intercepted what looked like it was going to be an assist for Max Gaudry. He may have had a chance to score himself there. Decided to be unselfish instead. Didn't work out that time. Gus Stevens passes it back to Dawson Yegi and lets him reset the offense, going from left to right from the near sideline. Here come the Saints, and here comes the defense for St. Ambrose. The defense has been there, if not the offense, so far today. They'll get to throw this one in, deep in enemy territory. Before the throw in, couple of subs. Emilio Sugomez is back in. Hunter Lilly is in for the first time. Long lead up to this throw. Sent in front of the box and headed up in the air by Brown. One attempt to clear it, deflected. One attempt at a shot, deflected. Neither team's been able to get a clean hit until now. Saints do clear it down the sideline. knocked off the foot of Gaudry by Louise for Bayri. This is Sue Gomez. Emilio Sue Gomez has it knocked away. Back in the possession of the Fighting Bees. Trying to snap a 0-0 tie. To the back post, a shove, and a foul is called. And that is in the penalty box. Whistle blows against Peter Langenhusen. And this is scary stuff now for the Fighting Saints. Clock stops at 13:45. And the Fighting Bees will have an undefended chance to tie the score. Kick coming up from Josh Simon. Freshman forward who has scored 3 goals this year, looking to make it 4, and he does. Just out of the reach of a diving Elio Di Janeiro. And with 13:45 remaining in the first half, it is St. Ambrose first on the scoreboard, 1-0. And it all started with the penalty kick for Josh Simon. His 4th goal this season. He's got 9 points overall. Saints looking for a quick response. Dawson Yegi steps up and scoops that ball into his hands. St. Ambrose was taking their time when it was tied. They can really afford to take their time now that it's a lead. Still just under an hour remaining in the game. So there's a lot of time for the Fighting Saints to get back into it here. Trailing by just the 1 goal. Far sideline. Bees begin to make their move. The intended target of that pass fell down along the sideline. That was Mateus Mageus who fell. St. Ambrose controls it from the defense. Looking to protect a 1-goal lead, which is not to say at this stage of the game that they would start to take it easy at all. A lot of time in this one. Both teams will try to add on to their totals. In the Saints' case, total is 0 so far. But they've had more scoring chances than St. Ambrose has. This is a chance for St. Ambrose right now, though. Hunter Lilly has it knocked away by Austin Delaze down in the corner. That is a throw-in, not a corner kick. It happened along the sideline that the ball went out. Another long run-up on the throw-in. Fired to the back post, headed right at Di Janeiro, who makes a nice save. Great work by Elio Di Janeiro, keeping this game where it is. 1-0 St. Ambrose. The Bees aren't done with this attack just yet, though. Headed into the middle of the field. Saints are able to clear it. But now the hard part comes. Where do they find their offense? Every time lately that they get the ball to this side of the field, it easily finds its way to Dawson Yegi. Down the middle, past the intended target of that pass. Nobody in the corner. So Dellis is able to track it down on his own. Delizé goes all the way across field. Jimenez started the run, gives it up. The shot is deflected by Yegi and knocked out of bounds for a corner kick. Good looking shot off the foot of Mason Moroz, but Yegi made an even better save. Third corner kick of the game coming up for the Fighting Saints. Down on the far corner. The ball is set up for Valles. He takes the corner kick, sends it high in the air. In front of the net, the attempted bicycle kick is missed. Stepping up from the back line, Delizé pops it back towards the corner of the box. Knocked to the sideline, out of bounds, last touched by St. Ambrose. Under 10 minutes to play in the first half. 1-0, St. Ambrose leads. They got a penalty kick from Josh Simon in the 32nd minute. Gaudry tosses it in, knocked up in the air. It bounces a couple of times right in the general vicinity of Pelopita. Sent back to Jack Brown. St. Francis defender gets by one defender, passes off to his left, and Jimenez. Middle of the field, ball knocked away. A good tackle by Ferbery. And a foul called on the Fighting Saints. And a yellow card given to Sergio Fernandez Arango. I think not for the foul, but for the reaction to the foul. So a yellow card handed out. 9:09 to play in the first half. 1-0 St. Ambrose. When everybody's ready to go, Jorn Reck take the kick. Knocked away by the Saints. Gaudry pushes it downfield towards Moroz, but it'd be 1-on-3 as Moroz is called for the foul, taking out Dylan Allendijk. Right at midfield, St. Ambrose goes to the far side. And the Saints tap it out of bounds. Both teams bring on substitutes. Armani Lagunas is in for St. Francis. Looks like Berto Madrano for St. Ambrose. Good defensive challenge from the Saints, and out of bounds. Kai Yoshikani is in as well for the Fighting Bees with under 8 minutes to play in the half. Man goes down for the Saints and still is right around midfield. That's Max Gaudry, junior from Paris, France. He's all right. Free kick goes short to Gaudry. Gaudry takes a long-range shot from about 40 yards out, and it's wide by about 40 yards as well. Maybe a slight exaggeration. But out to the right of the net. And a goal kick for St. Ambrose and their goalkeeper Dawson Yegi. Yegi's big kick goes across midfield. Knocked up into the air by the Saints. A fight for the loose ball. Still hasn't been won by anybody yet. And a whistle blows. We got a foul on the Saints. Or on the Bees, sorry. Offsides is the call. Rose runs after it. Knocked away and out of bounds by Reck. Jorn Reck's had a nice defensive game. Senior from Germany. To the right side. Saints trying to get through this defensive line. Haven't been able to do it in a while now. Haven't had any shots in some time. Push to the middle of the field. Swarming defense. Finally, here's Delaze all alone on the near side. Delaze takes the shot. It's saved by Yegi. And the Saints come up empty. 1-0, St. Ambrose leads. Only goal was on a penalty kick. Push down the near sideline. Long run for Jack Brown as the defender is the first one to get to it. And Brown is able to get it to his goalie. Down to 5 minutes to play in the first half. A half that started very promising for St. Francis, but it's amazing how quickly that promise can go away once the other team scores just one goal. I think it's still fair to say Saints have outplayed the Bees so far today. But because of that one foul that was committed in the box, that one penalty led to the one goal scoring. That's where we've been at ever since. Near side of the field, it's Jorn Reck. Passing it ahead, Dylan Allendijk. Just over 4 minutes to play in the half. St. Ambrose pushes it ahead. Long run back into the box. The defense is able to get there first and shield it off until Elio De Janeiro is able to step up and scoop it up for the Fighting Saints. Saints trying to make a little run here before halftime. It's been a while since they've been able to generate any offense. Obviously, they haven't been able to generate any offense by the scoreboard, but early in the game, they had a lot of good chances. 5 shots in the first handful of minutes. Couple on goal. Dawson Yegi was able to make the saves. Yegi is right near the top of the conference in terms of saves overall this year, and a yellow card is handed out to St. Francis. That is given to Juan Jimenez. It's a man down for St. Ambrose down in the corner. He's okay. It's Mateus Mageus who was down, but he was able to hop back up. He's all right. Yellow card given out. Second yellow card given to a Fighting Saint today. And with 3 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock, the Fighting Bees get a free kick from down in the corner. Quickly across midfield, St. Ambrose begins their attack, moving from left to right. Hunter Lilly has the ball knocked loose. St. Ambrose keeps it alive. Push down the middle. Good ball, but the runner was a little bit out in front. Offsides called as Jake Pollock, leading goal scorer this season for St. Ambrose, though he's been quiet offensively today, got a head start there, so he's called for offsides. And that stalls the St. Ambrose run. Just shy of midfield. Good ball work from Max Gaudry. He passes across midfield to the near side. Jack Brown gives it back to the goalkeeper. The Saints start over from the back end. The only goal came on a penalty kick in the 32nd minute. Saints defense has done a good job handling St. Ambrose otherwise. One of the highest scoring teams around. Foul called on the defense, or on the offense actually, for St. Francis here. So a free kick coming up for St. Ambrose just across midfield. The Bees average to score about 3 goals per game. So the fact that they have been held off the board except for the penalty kick, and now they try to get another one in, but it's waved off on a push-off. So on a free kick just across the midfield line, ball was sent into the box. It went right into a sea of players for both teams. The ball ended up in the back of the net, but there was a push-off in front of that. So the foul against St. Ambrose takes the goal off the board. Now an injured man for the Fighting Bees. Gus Stevens is the one on the ground right now in front of the net. 1:44 to play in the first half, and both teams head back towards the sideline as the athletic training staff comes out to have a look at Gus Stevens to see if he's okay. Hate to see anybody get injured ever, but especially at the very end of the half like this. They're looking at Stevens' back. He's propped up down in front of the St. Francis goal on his side, and he was able to just pull himself up to his knees. So he's clutching his lower back as he walks back towards the sideline, but he is heading back to the sideline on his own. No help required. Walking with just a slight limp, again favoring that lower back. So he looks a little uncomfortable, but doesn't appear to be in too much pain, and that's good news all around. Stevens is going to be able to stick it out. And the Saints will get first kick as soon as we're ready to resume play. St. Francis looking for their first win of the year. Last time they got a result was on August 23rd. That was their first game of the season, a 0-0 tie against Dort from out in Iowa. Since then, they've lost 4 in a row. A couple of them have been very close, including a 3-2 loss to Beloit College on September 6th. It was their second of this 4-game homestand. This is the 4th consecutive home game, and the last one for about a week. They'll head on the road to Olivet Nazarene this weekend. Long discussion over on the St. Ambrose sideline as Stevens is sent off to the bench after suffering that injury. Now finally the whistle signals that we're ready to go again. Here's Austin Delazay. Ahead for Benicio Gamino, taken away from him. Good challenge by Emilio Su Gomez and a foul called on the Fighting Saints. Free kick coming up for the St. Ambrose Fighting Bees. They weren't too much further down the field than this when they were able to generate that scoring chance a minute ago, the one that resulted in a foul being called. See how far they push this one. Kick is taken by Rec up to the edge of the box and immediately headed away by the Saints. Gaudry chases it down, tries to keep it in bounds. That's Jimenez, rather than Gaudry. Jimenez taps it to his right. Deflected. Taken back by Jimenez. Saints in the final minute of the half want to make one last run towards a goal, trying for the equalizer here. Foul is called on St. Ambrose. Clock stops at 38 seconds. Juan Jimenez will take the free kick here. Clock is stopped, so he takes his time with 38 seconds and now sends it towards the front of the box. It's knocked away by St. Ambrose. Ball still loose. A shot taken, but an easy stop for Dawson Yegi. Not much on that shot. It'll probably be the last scoring chance for St. Francis this half, and now they'll try to prevent St. Ambrose from getting a last one as well. Picked up on a bounce by Elio Di Janeiro, and that might do it. I don't know if the Saints are going to have enough time to move down the field again. Clock runs down under 10 seconds, so it looks like DeGeneres will just take one last kick, and that'll take us into halftime. St. Ambrose took a 1-0 lead in the 32nd minute on a penalty kick. And that's all the offense we saw in the first half. DeGeneres doesn't even need to take that final kick before the clock expires. Halftime. We've got 45 minutes of soccer in the books, another 45 minutes still to go. 15-minute break for halftime first. 1-0 the score. St. Ambrose on top of St. Francis. I'll be back in 15 minutes to get you some stats from the first half and then second half action. 1-0. The Bees lead the Saints at the break. We're coming out to start the second half. 1-0 St. Ambrose leads St. Francis. Terry Bonadonna back with you on the call for this one as the Fighting Bees will take the opening kick of the second half. They flip sides. St. Ambrose now going right to left and shooting to the north side. St. Francis is going left to right into the south goal. Take a look at some stats from the first half as we get rolling here in part 2 of today's game. The only goal was scored in the 32nd minute. It was on a penalty kick. So we have not yet seen anybody score in the natural flow of the game. Overall, shots in the first half, 8-4 in favor of the Saints. So they have actually taken a step up in a big way today after they have struggled statistically in some of their recent games. But they've outshot St. Ambrose 8-4. Shots on goal 4-2 in favor of the Fighting Saints. Corner kicks 3-2 in the Saints' favor. The fouls are pretty even. 13 for St. Ambrose, 12 committed by St. Francis. Free kick for the Bees right off the bat here. Jorn Rex sends it in front of the net, and it's headed away by the Saints. So the first chance of the second half goes by the wayside. The only goal today was scored by Josh Simon. That was, again, on a penalty kick. It was Simon's 4th goal of the year. And just like in the first half, we're going to get a quick corner kick for the Fighting Saints. Saints took 2 corners in the first 2 minutes of the first half. They ended up getting just 1 more the rest of the half, but this will be their 4th of the game. Antoine Esparza's got the ball set in the corner. He'll do the honors here. Saints looking for the equalizer. Coming into the back post, it's knocked away by St. Ambrose. Towards the far sideline, Saints try to keep it alive, and it's knocked out of bounds for a Saints throw-in. Pushed into the box. Looking for room to take a shot. 2 defenders in the way, though. It is knocked loose by the Bees, and they're able to clear it back towards midfield. St. Ambrose is on the run. This is Jake Pollock. Pollock is the leading goal scorer this season, leading goal scorer in the conference with 6 of them, although conference play hasn't begun yet. That ball from Luis for Beirut dies just in front of the net, an easy stop for De Janeiro. Pollock's been quiet today. For Beirut's another guy who's been pretty quiet throughout this one. He had a goal and 2 assists in their lone game played last week, was named the CCAC Offensive Player of the Week. Cross from Esparza to the far side of the field. There's Gamino trying to get a shot off. It's deflected, and so doesn't make it all the way to the net. Saints get the ball back. They'll try it again. Here's Delazay. Delazay taps it off behind him to Gamino. Down to the far sideline. Rolled into the box. Looking for the cross, but it's knocked away. Good defense from Dylan Allendike. Foul on St. Francis, and St. Ambrose gets a chance to push it the other way. Just under 42 minutes to play. Second half. The Fighting Bees have such a lethal offense. They still really haven't shown it much, but they have the 1-goal lead. Pollock's pass deflected. Esparza looking to clear it. He's knocked off the ball, but a foul is called on Pollock. I think a lot of credit goes to the St. Francis defense. Aside from the one mistake, which was that penalty in the box, they've played a nearly flawless game. But this is one of the highest scoring teams in the conference against one of the lowest scoring teams in the conference. And so the Saints knew if they wanted to have any chance of picking up a win or even a tie in this one, it was going to have to come in probably a defensive struggle. And that's exactly the way this game has played out. Now there's an injured player for St. Ambrose. It's Jorn Reck. He's back near the midfield circle. I don't know what happened to Reck there. He was nowhere near the play. So something happened away from the ball, and he is limping off the field. He was able to get himself up and walk off under his own power, but not a real confident walk at the moment. So he checks out. Matthew Daly, junior defender, comes in for St. Ambrose. And the Saints get the free kick after the foul. Another foul is called, this one on the Fighting Saints. So very quickly they give the ball right back. Roger Valles is called for going a little bit too high with his foot there. Free kick for St. Ambrose. Taken by Gus Stevens. Stevens left the first half late with an injury. Looked at the time like he wanted to stay in, but was forced out of the game shortly, and so he missed the last minute of the first half, but he's back out there for the second. Downfield for Gamino, but he was offside, so he backs off, doesn't make a play on the ball, and it's rolled out of the box by Dawson Yegi. Yegi working another shutout so far today. He's got one of them so far this season. The foul is called on St. Ambrose. Check that, out of bounds on St. Ambrose. Langenhusen tries to keep it in bounds but can't. So now St. Ambrose gets to throw it in after a mistake from the Fighting Saints. Fired down the sideline and never got back in bounds. Not a great throw there from Pollock. And so the Saints will throw it back in from the same spot. Well, maybe not from the same spot. There's some confusion as to where that ball actually went out of bounds. I didn't think it ever cleared the line and went inbounds. But Langenhusen is being forced back before he can throw it. Joe Campbell passes it off for St. Ambrose, loses possession. Here's Max Gaudry for the Fighting Saints. Down on the far side of the field. Taken back the other way by the Bees. Here's Langenhusen. Langenhusen up the near sideline. Nobody there wearing gold. So St. Ambrose lets it go. Magea sends up rolling back to Dawson Yegi. Just under 39 minutes to play. A little bit more than 6 minutes into the second half. 51 minutes into the game. 1-0 St. Ambrose leads on a 32nd minute penalty kick from Josh Simon. Nice defensive challenge from Sergio Fernandez Arango. Loses the ball right back though. Mageas has it intercepted and a good tackle from Langenhusen. Fight for the loose ball is won by St. Ambrose. Weaving through a couple of defenders, Ricardo Ronconi is tripped up and a foul is called on St. Francis. So an opportunity for a free kick here for St. Ambrose. Scoring potential from where they're at. This one is just over 25 yards out. Just to the left of the net, and it clears the goal. Out of bounds on the kick. Goal kick for the Fighting Saints. DeGennaro plays it short to Jack Brown. St. Ambrose right back on the attack, into the box. Knocked away, good defense by the Saints. Towards the sideline, and then another whistle blows. We're going to get another free kick here. So another chance for St. Ambrose from close range. This one a little bit inside of 25 yards. Wide to the right, so not the best angle to shoot from. We'll see if Mageas tries to put it directly on goal or not. Clock stops at 36:58. The official goes over to talk with Chad Holmer, the head coach of St. Ambrose. Finally back on the field. A lot of pauses in today's game. It's a long delay as we wait for the free kick, but looks like everybody's ready. Mageas will make the approach. Just waiting for the whistle. 36:58 on the clock. And knocked away quickly by St. Francis. So nothing doing on that free kick. St. Ambrose gets it right back. We'll see if they're able to mount another attack here. Down to the far sideline. Rolled back into the middle of the field. Fighting Bees are still in possession. This is Pollock. Pollock rolls it off to the near side. Trying to get some help from Ronconi. There's his cross. Ronconi's cross is deflected out of bounds. It's a shot from Joe Campbell. It didn't look like a bad pass from Ronconi. Campbell just wasn't really in opportune position, and he wasn't able to put it on goal. Well outside the target. Out for a St. Francis goal kick, and now the Saints try to get it across midfield. Saints defense is still playing well, but they're not generating the same kind of offensive chances that they did early in the game. Towards the near sideline, Langenhusen keeps it in bounds. Rolled ahead for Esparza. Chipped down the field. Trying to hook up with Jonathan Mendez. Couldn't get it to him. Saints get it back, but they're out of midfield now. Gaudry fighting for positioning. Loses the ball. Taken away by Sue Gomez. There's a long ball way outside the net. And out of bounds for a goal kick. Just about 10 minutes into the second half. No score since halftime. St. Ambrose still leads it 1-0. This high-flying team has been held in check offensively so far today. But they're not giving up a whole lot on the other end of the field. And that has been a little uncharacteristic. They score a lot, but they also give up a fair amount. Even though they're doubling up their opponents this year, they give up more than a goal per game. And only have the one shutout despite 7 wins. But today it has been a defensive effort for St. Ambrose that has given them the lead. Now almost 2/3 of the way through the game. On the free kick, a whistle blows. Quick whistle down in the box. I'm not sure what it's about. The official's talking to players from both sides right now, I think. Forcing St. Francis back. We're going to redo this free kick from 10 yards past midfield. Mageus will take it again. Clock at 34:33. Right down the center of the field in the box, headed into the air. DeGennaro tries to step up. He can't reach it, but the ball is knocked free by the Fighting Saints. Towards the sideline and out of bounds. The Saints will get a throw in from the far end of the field. Able to dodge another bullet there. Now we'll see if St. Francis can get that offensive attack rolling. They've got a free kick here from just shy of midfield. Played short, right across the stripe. And out of bounds. Last touched by St. Ambrose. Fight for possession on the far sideline. Knocked ahead by St. Ambrose and tackled away by the Saints. It's Jack Brown. Brown tries to get around Joe Campbell, and the ball is knocked out of bounds once again. Another throw in for Delazay. Gaudry goes across field with it. It's Langenhusen. Langenhusen down into the corner. Long run of Esparza, and he can't reach it. Out of bounds, we've got a throw in here for St. Ambrose. Substitution for St. Ambrose first as Joe Campbell heads to the bench. Emilio Sue Gomez comes back in. Throw in for the Bees. Off the head of Gaudry. Deflected back and forth. Gamino pushes it ahead. Good defense from the Bees and out of bounds. Just not giving up much right now. Not giving St. Francis room for their attack. Langenhusen steps up from the defense, trying to help out on the plus side of the field, and foul is called on the Saints. William Morrell involved in that one, and Morrell is shown a yellow card. 32 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in this game. 1-0, St. Ambrose has the lead. Yellow card given to William Morrell. It's the third yellow card given to St. Francis today. Make that actually the fourth yellow card given to St. Francis today. Sergio Fernandez Arango has one. Juan Jimenez has one. They actually gave one to the goalkeeper a little bit earlier as well, Elio De Janeiro. And now add Morrell's name to that list. It's been a physical game. A couple of yellows have been given out to St. Ambrose players as well. Mateus Mageas has one, as well as Polis Pelopita. Everybody lined up, 28 yards out. Free kick comes in from Gus Stevens into the box and pushed out the end line by St. Francis. We'll get a corner kick. Third corner kick of the game for St. Ambrose. Kick comes in low, headed towards the back post and out of bounds, wide to the left, and out for a goal kick. So the Saints do their job defensively again. Now let's see if they can turn it into offense. Rolled over to the far side of the field. Jack Brown pushes it towards midfield on the far sideline. Possession won by St. Ambrose. Fabery tried to make a move, and it's lost out of bounds. Correction, foul called on the Bees. Free kick for Jack Brown. Brown sends it deep, but nobody there in goal. Deflected back to the Saints, though. See if they can make something out of this. Passed over to Gaudry. Max Gaudry forced off the ball. No call as St. Ambrose takes it away. Gaudry still down for the Fighting Saints. Play continues for St. Ambrose, and possession is won back by Morrell and the Fighting Saints. Here's Delazé. Towards the sideline, Gaudry. Gaudry pushes ahead to Valles. Tap to the sideline and out of bounds. Going back the other way. Just under a half hour to play in this game. St. Francis not in much of an offensive rhythm at the moment. See if that changes here. Nope, not on that particular drive. Intercepted by Mageas. He pushes it forward. For Barry. Looking to make something happen from the left side. Knocked loose. Mateus Mageas takes the shot, and it is saved by Elio De Janeiro. One of the better looking shots we've seen from St. Ambrose tonight. In fact, that's one of the better looking shots we've seen from either team. There haven't been a ton of shots either way. That's the second save made today by De Janeiro. Langenhusen steps up with the challenge but misses. It's now a chance for Ronconi. Ronconi's cross coming into the back end is deflected away. Good defense by the Saints again. And how can they clear it? St. Ambrose is still in possession. Over on the far end towards the corner. Pollock works his way in tight. Pollock passes it back between the legs of Gomez and cleared by St. Francis. If Gomez had been able to get a clean touch on that one, they might have been able to get a good shot off. But it went through his legs. Saints took it away. Credit to Jonathan Mendez and Benicio Gamino. Brown in possession now. Passes back to DeGennaro, who rolls it to the near side where St. Francis begins their next attack. Sent downfield, long run for Mason Morose, and he's not able to get there first, but it is knocked out of bounds by Gus Stevens. So Morose and company get to stay on the offensive as Jimenez steps up for the throw-in. Juan Jimenez bounces it back to Langenhusen. They'll let the freshman from the Netherlands throw it in instead. Langenhusen tosses it in off the chest of Morose. Tapped out to Valles. Valles crosses it over to the opposite end of the net. Chasing it backwards, Gamino keeps the play alive. And now it's tackled away by St. Ambrose, and a little bit too ardently. A foul called against the Fighting Bees just outside the box. And St. Francis will have a free kick from maybe their best position of the game, 20 yards out on the left side of the net. This one will be interesting as they trail 1-0. The only goal they've given up today was on a set piece. That was specifically on a penalty kick. This is not that, but an opportunity on a set piece here for the Fighting Saints. Ball is set up by Max Gaudry. Saints are looking for their 4th goal of the season. They scored 2 against Beloit College. 1 against Indiana Columbus. Kick comes in from Gaudry, and it sails over everybody's head and out of bounds. So nothing doing on that free kick. Clock down to 26 minutes. Dawson Yegi gets the goal kick for the Bees. Rolled short, pushed to the far end of the field, and knocked out of bounds by the Saints. Fired in down the sideline. St. Ambrose able to push it ahead. They continue to make their way down the field. They'll get another throw in. The whistle blows here, and a foul called against St. Ambrose. The Saints restart play quickly. The ball is knocked out of bounds. St. Ambrose will get the throws. They take possession right back from the Saints. Gaudry turns it upfield. Valles over to Morel, and Morel pushes it ahead to Juan Jimenez. Jimenez right down the center of the field. The race for this ball is going to be won by St. Francis. Gamino looking for the cross. It's intercepted. Headed back out to the Saints midfield, and they can't keep the possession alive, but knocked out of bounds by St. Ambrose, so the Saints will get it back. Substitution first. A new man comes in for the throw-in here. Looks like Tristan Dean. Dean fighting for that ball, but it's knocked away from him. And a whistle. Foul is going to be called on St. Ambrose, and a yellow card is given to the Bees as well. It goes against Luis Ferbery. Third yellow card given to a St. Ambrose player today. Max Gaudry left limping away from the play, but he looks like he's okay. He'll be even better once he realizes that the Saints have a chance to make their way downfield here. Starts jogging, and the limp departs immediately. Brown takes the kick into the box, skips past everybody, and Yegi just lets it go out of bounds. A little bit too high for any of the strikers there. Yegi did well just to let that one go. Let the clock run a little bit and set himself up for a goal kick. B's attack is stalled for the moment. Trying to get the ball back, though. For Beiri, works it into the box. And another whistle, a foul called. So free kick coming up just outside the box here. Very nearly another penalty kick. This one is inches outside that yellow line. Taken immediately to the left of the net. And Jake Pollock will be the man to take the kick here. Pollock rolls it right onto that line. And lines things up right at the halfway point of this second half. 22 and a half minutes to play. There's the whistle. Here comes the kick from Pollock. To the backside of the net. It's knocked out of bounds. These guys typically do that on any free kick. They'll roll it ahead just a few inches to get themselves set up to take the kick. And it's standard plays, even though it's technically not what you're supposed to do. It's just kind of accepted that that's how it plays out. But when your foul was committed just outside the box and you roll it ahead a few inches so that the ball is actually in the box at that point, it's easy to see that's not usually where the ball is played. Because if that's actually where the foul had been committed, it would have been a penalty kick. St. Ambrose has already scored once on a penalty kick today. It's the only way either team has scored so far. St. Ambrose has scored 8 goals combined over the last 2 games, coming off of their only loss of the season against undefeated Grandview. 4 goals in a 4-1 win and then a 4-3 win, their last 2. So this is a team that was scoring at will, and the Saints have stifled them offensively. They just have not looked like a dominant offensive team, but they have looked like a dominant defensive team. So the Bees still have the lead. 1-0, starting to get late here. Just 21 minutes still to play as a foul is called on St. Ambrose. And the Fighting Saints will get a free kick from just inside the sideline. Ahead to Juan Jimenez. Jimenez makes a move around one defender, cuts to the middle of the field, trying to get a shot off, but the defense steps in. On the back end of the play, a shot comes in from Langenhusen, but that's deflected, never makes it all the way to the goalkeeper. And the ball is knocked out of bounds. A throw-in from the corner for the Fighting Saints. Langenhusen, who took the shot moments ago, this time makes the throw. Deflected right back out of bounds by Pollock and apparently rolled off the foot of Roger Valles on the way out. So a throw-in for St. Ambrose, and at least for the time being, looks like the Bees have been able to avert that one. On the near side, it's Gomez. Gomez takes a big left-footed kick down to the middle of the field. Nobody there on the receiving end. He was trying to hook up with Kai Yoshikani. Here's Fernandez Arango for the Fighting Saints. Deep down the near side. That's headed back towards midfield. Fernandez Arango steps in on it again. Here's Valles. Saints on the attack. It's Gaudry. Max Gaudry passes off to his left. Into the box. Gamino to the back line. Takes the shot, and it's wide to the right. Just inches off the post. And out of bounds for a goal kick. Best chance of the game for the Fighting Saints. That very nearly rolled in. It was just wide in what would have been the equalizer to tie the score at 1. Instead, it's back to the drawing board for the Saints, who have just 19 minutes to try to find that game-tying goal. And obviously, they need 2 goals at least in order to come up with a win. Across midfield, headed back by St. Ambrose, and nobody on the attack there, so it's headed by the Saints in the direction of their goalkeeper. De Janeiro picks it up. Elio De Janeiro Jr. out of France, transfer from Harry S. Truman College, has been very good. Only gave up 1 goal on the penalty shot back in the first half. St. Ambrose hasn't otherwise been able to get to him. He's had the majority of the playing time lately. He and Merlin Vanderveen have been going pretty much 50-50 for most of the season, but lately De Janeiro's gotten an extended run. Fernandez Arango ahead to Juan Jimenez. Saints are in the midfield circle. Passed off to the opposite sideline. Pushed ahead by Tristan Dean and out of bounds. The Bees make a substitution. Josh Simon, the lone goal scorer in today's game, heads to the bench. Berto Madrano is back in. I think this is the first time we've seen him in the second half. Langenhusen tries to turn it upfield and makes a good slide tackle to keep it in St. Francis's possession. He could have gone back to De Janeiro there. Instead decided to turn it up himself. It was a little bit more of a challenge that way, but the Saints remain in possession. Fernandez Arango back around to the near side. Ahead to Jimenez. Juan Jimenez looking for the through ball, deflected by the defense of St. Ambrose and into the hands of Dawson Yegi. Big run there from William Morel. Morel wasn't able to get to the ball in time, though. Yegi steps in first. Yegi takes the kick into the circle. Max Gaudry wins possession for the Saints. His pass is deflected. Fight for the ball now. Won by Morose. Mason Morose pushes it ahead, but a sliding stop made by Stevens. St. Ambrose comes up with the stop. Here comes Joe Campbell. Campbell pushes it ahead into the box, down to the corner. Saints try to keep it in bounds, and they do long enough for St. Ambrose to knock it out. It'll be a goal kick here with just under 16 minutes to play. Still 1-0. It has been a defensive showdown today. The only goal was that penalty kick in the 32nd minute. Push from behind. Valles hits the deck. And a foul is called on the Bees. Fernandez Arango passes back to the middle of the field. Morel. Trying to make a few guys miss. Jonathan Mendez taken to the ground. Back up. Ball stays alive. Cleared by St. Ambrose, at least for the moment. Saints get it back. It's Dean. Passing off. Near side. Deflection. Stolen by St. Ambrose. And cleared by St. Ambrose. Saints will try it again. Here's Brown. Jack Brown works his way around Pelopita. Saints go back and forth. They're not gaining any ground here, but they're not losing possession either. Still trying to put themselves in position for an attack. There's a long kick from De Janeiro. Finds the foot of Jimenez. Juan Jimenez works his way back to the middle of the field. He's tripped up. Foul called on Emilio Su Gomez, and a yellow card is given to Gomez as well. It's the 8th yellow card given out to a player during today's game. Each side has been shown 4 of them. 14 minutes, 16 seconds remaining in this one. Tight game. Saints have still outshot St. Ambrose, not by a huge number. It's not all that lopsided, but they have more shots on goal. Haven't been able to put one in yet, though. Jimenez off the free kick, can't find a teammate. And the Saints will have to settle for a throw-in on the far sideline. Gaudry down to the corner for Dean. Rolled ahead to Baez. Back to Gaudry at the midfield. Langenhusen makes a move to his right. Langenhusen fires the shot, and it's too high and out of bounds. Good setup. Langenhusen just put a little bit too much on that kick. Starting to get late here. St. Ambrose clutching onto this 1-goal lead. I don't know if they're yet at a point where they're just trying to milk the clock, but they haven't had possession much lately. They'd certainly love to add one more goal. A chance here on a run from Berto Medrano. He stayed on sides, but the defense got back for the Saints. They're able to knock the ball away. Throw in here for the Fighting Bees. Jake Pollock is now taking his time, waiting for the rest of his offense to make their way downfield. Now the throw in front of the net, headed in the air, cleared by the Saints. Now the Saints don't really have any attackers downfield. They were playing back, guarding against that throw-in deep in the defensive zone. So that gives St. Ambrose the opportunity to take possession back and take their time. Langenhusen heads it back towards Morrell. Morrell loses it off his first touch. Jake Pollock regains possession for St. Ambrose. Headed to the sideline and knocked out of bounds. Saints possession here. Brown takes a step back towards the sideline before his free kick. He rolls it forward. Mendez keeps the ball alive, passes off just in front and out of bounds. We've got a throw in. St. Ambrose will take it back the other way. Bees trying to improve to 8-1 on the season. This is just the second time they've played away from home this year. They lost at Grandview 2 weeks ago. That was their only loss of the season. Grandview remains undefeated. So if this score holds, it'll be St. Ambrose's first road win of the year. Joe Campbell takes one dribble, takes the shot, and just misses the second goal of the game for St. Ambrose. The way this one has gone, I don't want to say it's game over if they score one more goal, but it would feel awfully close to that. So that would have been a very costly goal for St. Francis if it had scored. But Campbell was just wide to the left, and it remains a 1-goal game with 11 minutes to play. Here's Gaudry. Gaudry rolls it ahead where it's intercepted by Jorn Reck. Gaudry goes down again for St. Francis. And down for St. Ambrose as well. That's Pollock. Excuse me, that is Pelopita. And play is stopped for the moment as Gaudry very slowly pulls himself up. He's fine. He hits the ground pretty often. Usually is able to hop back up. Pelopita is the guy who's still down, and that's why the clock is stopped at 10:26. Pelopita appears to be okay as well, though. There'll be a St. Ambrose kick here when we're ready to resume play. Still up 1-0. They got their one goal a little bit over a half ago now. 32nd minute. So relatively late in the first half. Even though the game remained scoreless for more than a half hour. At the time that penalty kick was scored, I think I would have guessed, and probably a lot of people watching would have guessed, that there are going to be a handful of more goals scored. That's just the way the season has gone for St. Ambrose. They score a lot. And St. Francis looked like they were on the verge of scoring a few earlier in the game. So I think I would have bet on 1-0 not still being the score with 10 minutes to play, but that's where we're at right now. 80 minutes in, still just 1-0. And the Saints are running out of time. Especially as St. Ambrose definitely does get into that stage of the game now where anytime they get a chance to run time off the clock, they're doing it. Thrown in front of the net and cleared by the Saints. St. Ambrose back in control. Not anymore. Taken away by Jack Brown. Towards the sideline. Saints trying to make a run. Intercepted by the Bees. Tackled right back by Morrell. Saints will throw it in from midfield. Collision there between Morose and Allendijk. Allendijk jumped on the back of Morose and flew through the air, but he was able to hop back up. He's okay. Now Morose is down for St. Francis. He appears to be okay as well. But a couple of collisions in a row there. And it sets up a free kick for the Fighting Saints. Just in front of the sideline, 20 yards off the net. Far end of the field. It's going to be Valles to take the kick. 8.5 minutes to go. Never makes it to any of the St. Francis attackers. Deflected away by St. Ambrose. And now the Bees take over defensively. Pushed ahead into the midfield. Sliding stop from the Saints out of bounds. Bees get the throw in from midfield on the far side. Throw in is made by Jake Pollock. And they'll get another one right here from a lot closer to the corner. Pollock lets a few more seconds run off the clock before he makes his running head start. He'll try to throw it, I would think, right in front of the net. He does. It's pushed away by DeGennaro to the back end. Campbell keeps it alive for St. Ambrose. Towards the back line, a push. And a foul called on Sergio Fernandez Arango, which means another free kick here for St. Ambrose. Coming up close to the box. Similar spot to where they had a free kick a few minutes ago. See what Campbell's able to do with this one. Can he curve it towards the net, or does he look for help on the backside? Campbell's ready to go. There's the whistle. Here's the kick. It's on the ground, sliding in late. It is pushed towards the net and out of bounds. It's going to be a corner kick. That one nearly went in. DeGennaro nearly had the stop. But I didn't see who it was. One of the Fighting Bees came sliding in and practically knocked that ball directly off the foot of, or directly with his foot, knocked it out of the hands of Elio DeGennaro. Clock stopped at 6:28 as both teams make multiple substitutions. Just in front of the corner kick for St. Ambrose. So a long pause for the substitutions here. Not sure what we're waiting for at this point. It's been a long game. More stoppages than typical, and they've all been pretty lengthy. Saints players are yelling about something, and somebody's been given a red card. Looks like both sides have been handed red cards. I don't know who it was. It looks like Max Gaudry right now for the Saints. He's the one pleading his case right now with the official. So it appears that Gaudry has been eliminated from the game. I don't know what precipitated this. There was a long pause and then a lot of yelling back and forth, and it seems like it was the yelling that led to the red cards given as opposed to anything that happened on the field. I don't know. It's been a weird game. 6:28 still to play. There's more than I can ever remember seeing in a soccer game where there's just been long breaks where the official's talking to somebody. And in this case, it ultimately leads to Max Gaudry being ejected from the game. I thought he showed the red card to two different players. It doesn't look like anybody has left from St. Ambrose. Now I'm just trying to count who's out there. Well, it looks like only 10 players out there for St. Ambrose, so I don't know who left. But it does appear that somebody's gone. There's a lot of confusion here, mostly from me. But Max Gaudry definitely has left the game for St. Francis. I have no idea what led to the red card, whether it was something that happened on the field and was just being discussed that whole time, or if it came from the arguments that occurred during the break. As it is, it's been about 5 minutes since we've been playing. It might take that long just to write everything in his book. He's giving explanations to both sidelines. Well, it's all the same sideline, both coaches. So it appears that we've had ejections for both teams. Max Gaudry is given a red card for St. Francis. Didn't see who got it for St. Ambrose, but they only have 10 on the field right now. So it's a little thin for both sides. It's a corner kick coming up for St. Ambrose. We have just 6 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the game. 1-0, the Bees lead, and finally we're ready to continue. A header off the corner kick and cleared by St. Francis down across midfield. Here's Campbell for St. Ambrose. Back to Mageas. Mageas slowly dribbles to the far side. Works his way all the way across the field. Down into the corner for Gomez. Gomez loses the ball. Gamino takes it away. Taken off the foot of Valles, and the shot goes a little bit high and over the net from Ferberry. Goal kick for the Saints, and now they're operating at full speed, knowing they are very nearly out of time if they want to get a point out of this. And there is a point on the line because it's the first game of conference season. Saints came in with a record of 0-4-1. All of that was non-conference. This is when the season really heats up, and so far, the Saints have got to be feeling pretty good about the way they've looked against the team that in non-conference play has been better than anybody else in the CCAC. But as of right now, the result is not in their favor. Pushed ahead for Langenhusen. Not able to reach it, though. On the opposite side of the field, we've got a throw-in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Into Brown, who rolls it across field. Fernandez Arango. Everybody stepping up from the defense for the Saints. To the near side, it's Delazay. There's the cross from Delazay. It's knocked loose. Ambrose looking for the clearance. Not able to do it just yet. It's on the far sideline, still in possession of the Saints. And knocked out of bounds by Allendijk. We'll get a throw in for the Saints. Clock continues to run. So the ball rolls into the corner for Jimenez, and Jimenez is unable to control it. Out of bounds for an Ambrose throw. Substitution coming in for St. Ambrose. Stops the clock at 4:08. Hunter Lilly is back in the game. Middle of the field. St. Ambrose looking to get it out of the danger zone. And a foul is called on the Fighting Saints. St. Ambrose feeling in pretty good position here with under 4 minutes on the clock. They run a few extra seconds on every free kick. So they'll run it down to 3:40 here as the kick is sent ahead. Just across midfield. Saints take it away. Fernandez Arango heads it forward to Juan Jimenez. Nice little tap to Roger Valles. Valles tries to get it through for Langenhusen. Can't sneak it past the defense, though. Yegi steps in. 6'8" tall goalkeeper. Knocks it down the sideline and out of bounds. Saints trying to make another run. Pushing the entire defense ahead again. Brown right down the middle of the field. Langenhusen looking to head it for Fernandez Arango. Wasn't able to get it to him, though. Off to the far side of the field. St. Francis will get the throw here. Here's Delazay working against Lilly. Passed into the middle of the field. William Morel has it intercepted. In the back corner, possession won by the Saints. Nice rundown by Fernandez Arango, but it's pushed off of his foot. Good defense from Polis Pelopita. He knocks it back out of bounds, allows him and his teammates to set up again. Out of bounds for a throw from St. Ambrose with the clock running down to 2 minutes. It's at 2:15 as it stops. Tossed in tight down the side. Saints are able to haul it in on defense. This is Delazay. Big ball down the middle of the field. Headed back by the Ambrose defense. And Allendijk forces it ahead. A run for Ferbery into the box, and stepping up, De Janeiro kicks it high in the air and out of bounds just over the bench of St. Ambrose. The Bees will get a throw in. Ferbery is the man down for St. Ambrose, but he hops right back up. He's okay as we await the start of the possession for St. Ambrose. We're going to take a free kick from just inside the sideline, right in front of their bench. Oh, another red card has been handed out. That is William Morel who has shown the red card. It's the second red given to a Fighting Saints player today. Max Gaudry is already done for the day, and Morel was just given a yellow card. That's his second yellow of the game. And that means that he's done. So the Saints are down to 9 players now. A lot going on in this game. We've seen 9 total yellow cards given out. And now that's our third ejection of the game. Max Gaudry of the Saints and Jake Pollock of the Fighting Bees were both disqualified on red cards about 4 minutes ago. And now on his second yellow card, William Morrell has been disqualified for the final 101 seconds as well. Saints are down to 9 players for the last minute and a half, needing 1 goal to tie. Trying to fight the ball off the foot of Ferbery. But St. Ambrose keeps it alive. Passed in front of the net. Nice block by the Saints. Defense still trying to step up. St. Ambrose still trying to create a shot. Ferbery passes the shot and the goal. Two to nothing. St. Ambrose leads. A minute 21 still to play in this game, but that should wrap things up. It's been a fight for St. Francis all the way through, trying to get themselves back into an even position. And after their second red card in the span of 5 minutes, St. Ambrose, now playing with a one-man advantage, is able to find an opening on defense and score. Impressive setup there. Ferbery was able to weave his way between a few defenders and set up, I think that was Mageus who put the ball in the net. But now we're down to the final 80 seconds, and the Saints are in desperation mode, trailing by 2 goals. Fernandez Arango passes back to Jack Brown. Saints maybe running out of steam a little bit here after surrendering the second goal in the 89th minute. Hunter Lilly off the pass from Ferbery, who had a goal and 2 assists in last week's win. Lilly picks up the goal here. It's his second of the season, 24th of the year for St. Ambrose. Clock runs down to 30 seconds. The foul is called on St. Ambrose. Fighting Saints will get a free kick from just outside the box here, but it might be the last thing they do in this game. Down under 20 seconds now. Jimenez takes the shot, and it's too high. I don't know if it's going to count. The official had his back turned to the play, was calling for the clock to stop. Looking to force the defenders back. Jimenez took a practice shot. He'll do another one for real here. And if Yegi's able to come up with a stop, that should do it for the game. Or if the ball sails over the net, that should do it as well. So the clock is going to run out here prior to the goal kick, and St. Ambrose will walk out of Joliet with a 2-0 victory over the Fighting Saints. Hard-fought win for St. Ambrose. They scored on a penalty kick back in the 32nd minute from Josh Simon, and it looked for a long time like that would be the lone goal in the game. Finally, in the 89th minute, after a second red card was given to a St. Francis player, playing 10 against 9, St. Ambrose was able to score 20 seconds later. The second goal came off the foot of Hunter Lilly, the junior midfielder's second goal of the season. And that put it away. St. Francis down by 2 goals with just 81 seconds left. Was not able to generate anything from that point on. Wild game. Very physical game, a long game with a lot of stoppages. But the Bees are able to outlast the Saints. The shots ended up being even, 13 apiece. 4 shots on goal for both sides. Each team had 4 corner kicks. Very even in so many ways. 5 yellow cards given to St. Ambrose, 4 to St. Francis. 25 fouls called against the Bees, 24 against the Fighting Saints. So many of the stats were dead even or just about dead even in this game. But St. Ambrose, because of the big penalty in the first half and then that red card given out late in the second half, were able to take advantage of both of those instances to take 2 goals and a 2-0 victory against the Fighting Saints. With that win, St. Ambrose improves their record to 8-1 on the season. 1-0 in conference play. They'll head out to Viterbo this Saturday to continue conference play. For St. Francis, they fall to 0-5-1 on the season, a very difficult 0-1 start to CCAC play. They'll head on the road this weekend as well. They'll take on Olivet Nazarene. That's going to do it for this broadcast of St. Francis soccer as they fall to St. Ambrose by a final score of 2-0. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off from Joliet, Illinois for the University of St. Francis. Have a good night.